Hi, sixth grade readers. Today is especially exciting because today is the first official day of your book club unit, a deep study of character. So you are going to continue to read fiction stories, but this time you'll be reading those stories alongside other people, whether it be a partner or a club, you'll be thinking and growing your ideas together. Now, before we get deep into the mini lesson, I want to take a second to explain to you what I hope that you start to do as you work with other people as readers. I hope that as you start to work together in clubs or in partnerships, you start to take your reading to the next level by thinking interpretively. And what I mean by this is to bring meaning or draw forth meaning from your thinking. So maybe you're noticing things about characters. Maybe you're coming up with initial ideas about characters, paying attention to things that you know well, like traits, feelings, actions. Now, I want you to start thinking about, well, what do all those things really mean? What am I as a reader supposed to understand? And I just want to tell you a quick story about a time in my life where by thinking alongside another person and asking questions, my thinking totally changed. This has nothing to do with reading, by the way, or maybe it does. You'll be the judge of that. So, for instance, until just a few years ago, I was one of those people who had absolutely no idea why people play video games. Can you believe it? I had no idea. When I grew up, I didn't really grow up around video games. Yes, they existed when I was a kid. I'm not that old. But my parents didn't really like them in the house, so we didn't play them. And a lot of my friends didn't play them either, or if they did, I wasn't really around while they were playing those games. So then eventually I got older, I went to college, and I realized that a lot of my friends from college loved playing video games. And so then I remember one day sitting with a bunch of my friends, they were playing a video game, and I just was so confused by it. I was like, why are they doing this? It just feels like a waste of time. So instead of just saying, this is just stupid, this is a waste of time, I turned to one of my friends and I tried to really understand. I said, what is it about the game that you like so much? Why are you so interested in this? And then he said something like this. Well, you know, it's like a puzzle. As you play the game, you have to kind of, pick up different strategies. You try a few out, and then you have to take notice if things work or not work. So it's almost like you're constantly refining your skills and strategies while also putting them into different places. It's like putting together a puzzle or maybe building a machine. And then I started to watch him play the game thinking that way and saw it in an entirely new light. I was like, whoa, video games are pretty cool. They're like mind quests, really just like revving your brain up, taking it to a new level that I wasn't used to. So do you see how sometimes when you think alongside someone, when you ask them a question, when you look at the same thing together, you might go into it thinking about it two different ways. Like I was kind of like, I don't get video games, and he was like, I'm all about video games. But by finally asking questions and talking about it, he changed my thinking forever. Now I understand video games to be something entirely different, something really important for the brain to be able to do and practice. So today I want to teach you that readers sharpen their reading and thinking skills by not just seeing more in texts, but by making significance through their conversations with other readers. And one way they can do this is by paying attention to details, asking questions like, what am I supposed to understand from this? What meaning can I draw from this? And then talking about those ideas and sharing those ideas with book clubs or reading partners. So I'm going to show you how I do this by looking at one of the texts that we've already read, which is called My Side of the Story. So I'm going to set up my screen for you, and I want you to be looking alongside me and seeing if is there something else that we can maybe draw forth from this, some bigger meaning or idea. Let's try it. So I'm going to go back to this text, and I'm going to be trying really hard to think interpretively. I'm going to be paying attention to details and asking myself, what does this mean? What could this really be about? Watch me as I do this. I was sitting at my desk in my bedroom practicing my signature when my brother came in and asked me if I wanted to throw the ball around or shoot baskets. You know what I didn't realize before? I didn't realize that this whole issue started with his older brother actually wanting to do something fun with him. Because the narrator is so angry throughout this. Remember last time we read this together, we were thinking about how outraged he was. He was just like so wronged. I, in my mind, for so long thought it was that like the brother just did something to really, really like make him mad. That's not really the case. Now that I'm rereading this and looking closely at the details in this just first paragraph, I'm realizing that no, his brother wanted to hang out with him. Hmm. Now I'm kind of changing my mind a bit more about this main character. He doesn't seem so nice. I don't know if he's actually been rightfully like or wrongful, wronged before, or that he has the right to be so outraged. Let me keep reading and see what else I notice or what other details I can pay closer attention to. No, I said. So he looked over my shoulder at my signatures, went into the bathroom for a few seconds, came out, went to his desk, unraveled an entire roll of Scotch tape, and stuck it on my head. Okay, that's totally unfair. However, I'm realizing now that maybe it was because he did that because he wanted to hang out with his brother, and his brother doesn't want to hang out with him. Kind of an immature thing to do. However, maybe there's more to this than we thought. Maybe it's not just like brothers knowing each other. Maybe it's really about, you know, like brothers spending time together, and how sometimes when you ignore or when you prioritize something else, like your signatures, your other brother or your family member might take that personally. Naturally, I was outraged. What did you do that for? I asked. It was a stupid question because I knew very well why he had done it. He had done it for the same reason he had stuffed me in a laundry hamper and tied me to a chair with my best ties. Now I'm wondering, was that because he had said no to his brother? Was it that like his brother has this horrible reaction every time he turns him down to hang out? Do you see how now I'm rereading, paying closer attention to the smaller details, like exactly what happened or what led them to this reaction? I'm still thinking about the character. I'm still thinking about the character, like what I noticed about the characters' reactions, what they say, what they do, how they make feel. But this time I'm really paying closer attention to see if I can draw some meaning. Because now I'm wondering, is this story, my side of the story, is it really about just fighting with your sibling, or is it really about how we should, not take our siblings for granted, or we should prioritize hanging out with our siblings? Do you see what I'm doing here? I read it interpretively, and I did this by paying attention, closer attention to the details, asking myself questions like, what could this really mean? And I also reread parts a couple of times. And now the final thing I'm going to do, if I'm in a book club, the final thing I'll do, let me show you on my screen, is I want to start collecting my thoughts so I can eventually talk and explore some of my thinking or resolve some ideas with my partners. So I'm going to continue doing this, but I'm not going to just do it and think about it. I'm going to take some jots. Maybe I have some Post-its nearby, or maybe you use your reader's notebook or Google Keep. Whatever you're using today, make sure that you're taking notes so that you're preparing for your book club conversation. Book club participants and reading partners take responsibility for their reading and for their part in their book club or partnership by taking notes that they think will be meaningful and foster strong discussion. So as I continue to read, I'm going to be taking some notes on my Post-its or on my Google Keep so I can bring those to my partnership. I hope that you do the same thing, and I want you to continue to try this out in your brand new text or in a text that you read before. I can't wait to see and hear what you do.